Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're here this morning. Got a special guest here in the studio, but first, let's take a look at our weather brought to us by Gulf Coast Air Conditioning, Drew Powder, and a hard-working crew taking care of our everyday comfort needs. High today, 89, low 78. Looking at the water temperature, it dropped a half a degree, but that's a little bit of a sign. We talked about on yesterday's show, that little bit of a graph where it just starts dropping in the middle to late September. So hopefully that might be the first sign of the water temperature dropping. So we'll see. Right now it's 87.5, okay? 87.5. Yesterday was 88. Moving on to the river reading brought to us by Panama City, Coca-Cola. Look at Apalachicola, Bluntstown this morning is reading a 3.7. Got a steady drop to it, been a slow drop. River's in great shape. The river really is. But now looking at Choctawhatchee, Carabelle, 1.5. Folks, it's low over there, but it's a steady low. It's not jumping up and down. This rain, a little bit of rain we're getting now, it's going to start moving up a little bit if it continues raining like this. The wind direction today will be coming out of the northwest at about 8, so not bad day to be on the water. You'll have a good day, have some scattered thunderstorms through the area, so just keep your eyes to the skies and be careful. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. And welcome back, and welcome to one of our familiar guests we have on a regular basis, Steve Shea.
Good to see you, Winston.
Good to have you. Shea Wildlife, and we get a lot of comments when Steve comes on the show and shares all the information he has and knowledge he has. So try to get him to come on a pretty regular basis. I harass him all the time so he feels like he has to come on. But glad to have you, buddy.
Yep, I see you in the gym all the time. You say,
know.
Come on, Steve.
Yeah, we're coming on. When you come? How about tomorrow? Okay. Listen, what have you been up to?
Well, work's been busy. Just got through my alligator season, so collected all our alligator eggs for the alligator farm. So that's always interesting and challenging. I've done shows on that before. And now, I manage about 500,000 acres in Florida. And so doing deer surveys, camera surveys.
Yeah.
In South Florida, where the rut's a lot earlier, so we start doing surveys down there earlier and work our way up north and across the Panhandle. So
okay.
Busy doing that now.
Oh, man, and that's why we couldn't get him on. We've been so busy. The alligator harvest, you having any close calls this year? Like you showed the video last year, gator jumping at you?
No, this year was pretty low-key. I actually enjoyed it. None trying to eat me this year. So.
That's always a good sign.
Yeah, it was good.
Always a good sign.
Yeah.
And your deer surveys, everything pretty normal in those kind of areas?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. What I've seen some areas that I've managed for many years. The antler mass is down a little bit this year, which is kind of unusual. But a lot of people don't realize in Florida they've done research just like in Texas. You have a really drought year, the antler dimensions, physical condition is a lot lower. Now, this is a similar thing in Florida, and you wouldn't think, as wet as Florida is, the most rainfall of any state in the country, that hydrology wouldn't be an issue. But it's also an issue here, not to the extent it is in Texas, but it's still something that affects the size of deer on an annual basis.
That's interesting. We've had a really hot summer. We've all talked about how hot it's been this summer. How does that affect the deer, the gators, and all that?
Well, that's kind of an unresolved issue to see how it's. I think long term, it's really going to have big impacts on wildlife all across the country. Okay. But we don't know at this point, the degree that's going to happen. Yeah. It's going to change hydrology, which will change a lot as sea level rise. So the jury's out on that, and it's going to be a long, slow process.
But from summer, like this past summer, I guess they stayed in the shade a whole lot. The deer. I mean, how do they cool down? I mean, just.
Well, deer, the reason deer are small in Florida is they call it Bergman's rule. As you go north in the United States, up into Canada, the deer size gets bigger as you move north. And that's all to help deer thermoregulate. In the wintertime, it helps them stay warmer. In the summertime, with being small in Florida, there's more surface area for the size of the deer. It's easier for them to stay cool. So God works, He knows how to do things, I tell you.
It's pretty well designed.
Yeah.
Pretty well designed.
Yeah.
Well, and now you sort of had a little period of time, you sort of catch your breath, you get what you're getting ready to do now.
Well, I'm doing the deer surveys now, but you know, we had a good turkey season this year. We killed a bunch of turkeys in the Midwest and in Florida. And now gearing up for the hunting season. I guess we're going to talk a little bit about that during the show. So
we have some turkey pictures. We'll take a break before, and we're going to show them. But it's a challenge hunting the turkeys, isn't it? What a challenge it is.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, if it's out there, you got to call them back and forth. They got to talk to you, and it's just to me.
It's a real interactive type of hunting.
Yeah,
you know, to me, turkey hunting is like elk hunting. I mean, they're very similar in how you do it. Just the size of the game is a lot bigger, you know. But with the elk, but it's turkey hunting is a blast. Every time you kill a turkey adult tom, it looks pretty similar. I mean, you know, it may have a little longer beard or a little longer spurs, but what's really unique about turkey hunting is every hunt is so unique. It's different. It's almost like a person's fingerprints. Every hunt is different, and that's what's so fun about it.
That's what I mean. The challenge is you don't know what you're going to expect. You get up that morning, you don't know what to expect.
Oh, and there's a couple stories I'm going to tell you about some of the birds I killed this year. That as many turkeys I've killed, I had a couple strange things happen to me this year.
That is cool. Yeah. Like, you know, you go out deer hunting. I wasn't comparing to. You go deer hunting, get in a stand or whatever, and then you know the deer's going to walk from here to there, from there. But we got there with the turkey hunt. You don't know what's going to come toward you, away from you, or you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of game time decisions you have to make with turkey hunting. I mean, depending on how he's responded to the call, the terrain you're in. Do I need to move? Do I need to be patient? Yeah. With deer hunt, most time we're in a stand, and the only game time decisions you're making is, okay, should I call, or when should I prepare for my shot? If you're bow hunting, so it's less of a large type of game time decisions you make, usually deer hunting.
Every turkey hunter that I've been around and talked to, and we have some legendary turkey hunters here in the Panhandle. W.C. Harlow, I could go on and on. Ken Perry, one of his group, and they loved it, but they all just have this passion for it.
Oh yeah,
they really do. So it's like anything else. So let's take a break. We'll come back and talk turkey. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Steve Shea with Shea Wildlife, you know, counting the gators and harvesting the eggs and counting the deer. And Shea's busy year round, and you try to squeeze in some other stuff, don't you?
Try to squeeze in some hunting and fishing.
Fun, yeah. Okay, so we're talking about turkey hunting. And of course, he does all kinds, but we haven't had him on since this past spring. You had this past season was pretty good?
Yeah, I had a good season. It was shorter than I would like. I'm going to tell a story how I ended up killing 2 birds in one day, which I didn't mean to. So stuff can still happen. But then out west had good turkey numbers are coming up in the Midwestern states, and had good hunts out there. So overall, I had an excellent turkey season.
Good deal.
Yeah.
So here we go. We got we all want to sort of spread our season out, but you had a situation where you took care of it in like one shot almost. What in the world happened?
I have to tell you a story. Well, these are 2 Osceolas that we're looking at now, but it was raining. You could tell I looked like a drowned rat in that photo. A thunderstorm come up, and it poured rain, and I'm sitting there in the brush, and I was miserable, but I knew I was going to get more wet going back to the truck. So I said, I'll just wait it out. And it was still raining, but I said, okay, I'm going to leave. So I started gathering my stuff up, and I looked up, and there's 2 toms walking in the decoys. And I said, oh no. And so they knew, they saw me moving. Yeah. So they started walking away, both together, directly away from me. So I had my gun up, and I didn't want to kill both of them. So I'm waiting. And you know, this rain still dripping down my eyeglasses, and I could only see one bird. I said, well, the other one moved off behind some brush, so I thought I had a clear shot at the one. Shot him. The other one was directly behind him. Didn't see it.
They were lined up, huh?
Killed both birds, and I was like, oh, so my season was over like that quickly.
Wow.
But it just shows you that as good as you are at turkey hunting, as much experience you have, stuff like that can still happen. Yeah. And it's really a good thing. You know, years ago when you could only kill 1 bird a day in Florida, I would have been illegal.
You'd been in trouble,
and so, you know, a lot of people that lobbied for that change, this is really good because this happens more than you think. Yeah. I've seen it happen several times with other people that I was guiding, and they didn't, you know, pull the trigger the wrong time. It wasn't intentional. So, but that's like one of the first times that's ever happened to me, is kill 2 birds. So I was disappointed. I was happy, but I was disappointed because I wasn't going to. To me, it's the hunt that's so valuable. Yeah. And so now I said, well, I only really had 1 hunt rather than having 2 for the season in Florida.
And you know, it doesn't take but one pellet to hit him in the head, and so that, you know, when the pellet.
Well, that was the case. That second bird, he he flopped for 15 minutes before so obviously he didn't get hit by that many pellets.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
The only one I thought I would shoot, he was down for the count. So that one, I don't know. The first one blocked all the shot.
Yeah, it did protect him, almost protected him.
Yeah.
Okay, so next picture here. Tell us about this one.
Oh, that's my dad, Les Shea. He's 86 years old, and he loves to turkey hunt. So my brother and I take him a lot. This is an Osceola he killed down in South Florida that I called in for him. So he still loves to get out there and chase those turkeys. So he's coming up on 100 birds.
Wow.
Yes, he's getting close now. So he may do it this season with the birds he kills this coming year, as long as he's able to go. Like I said, we have to kind of get him to the blind.
Yeah.
You know, his mobility is not as good as it used to be.
You got to get him through the palmettos.
Yeah, yeah. And then we're also down on the Kemper Ranch. A friend of mine runs Osceola Outfitters, and I take my dad down there every year. This is a monster bird he killed.
That's huge.
That thing weighed, I think, 21 pounds, had an inch and
Goodness gracious.
3/8 spurs. Or inch and one was inch and a half, one was inch and 3/8. So it was nice, big turkey. That was my dad's second one. The first photo we showed was his second Florida bird. This was his first one.
That's Central South Florida.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
You got your pine tree way in the back. You had a palm tree, and the previous picture you had the palmettos. That's Florida. Palmettos, pines, and palms.
Yeah.
I know he enjoyed that. So you were able to also, speaking of turkeys, you were able to do some other places, right?
Yeah. I hunt out in Missouri, have a lease out in Missouri, so I hunt out there all the time. Usually, kill my 2 birds out there every year.
Okay, so all right, well, here's one. That's a big one.
Yeah, that's a good sized bird there. And you can tell it was kind of rainy that morning, but I tell you, this is an interesting story on this turkey. And this has never happened to me before. As that bird came in, and he was close, 20 yards, and put bead on what I thought was water. He went down in a pile. And I never had a turkey just fell over, and his legs were up in the air and never moved. So he's laying on the ground on his back with his legs up in the air. So I said, well, that bird's done.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there, and there was other birds in the field, and I was just kind of watching, just seeing things were playing. I was already thinking about the next day's hunt. Mm-hmm. And I sat there 15 minutes, and finally I said, okay, time to go. I kneeled up, started gathering my equipment, and that turkey, whoop, and started running. I'm like, holy! And my gun was laying on the ground, and I had never put another shell in it because I was done for the day. So I jacked the shell in, killed him running away. But he was still pretty close. But I had never had that happen before, where a bird didn't move, and that's why I didn't get up, to secure him, because I said there's no need to.
Yeah, you had a turkey playing possum on you.
Yeah. So that turkey taught me a lesson this year.
That's interesting too. How much that one weigh?
Most of our birds in Missouri weigh between 23 and up to 30 pounds.
Whoa.
That bird was probably 25 pounds. But those Midwestern birds weigh a lot more than they do, of course, down south.
Do you change your technique hunting them in Missouri as compared to hunting them in Florida? Do you use the same technique?
Well, you use the same technique. It's a lot thicker hunting in Florida.
Okay.
In Missouri, it's more open fields and big, wide open timber. So it avails itself for different techniques. We fan a lot in Missouri. It's more open space, easy to do that with the rolling hills.
Yeah.
So you do use different techniques, hunt a little different. And the birds were lots of times in Florida, they roost in traditional sites,
right.
Creek drains and cypress heads. In Missouri, it's less that case. It's wherever they end up being close to where they're feeding, they'll roost.
That's
so
interesting.
You never know where they're going to roost at.
That's
it's not like there's roosting associated with wetlands, which happens a lot in Florida. It's not the case up there.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the next picture right here?
All right, this is another day up there. That's my dad with one of the birds he killed, and one I killed there. You can see sometimes the tail fan of the one I killed was a lot lighter color. It looks like it's a little more Rio in coloration, like compared to my dad's. That's just kind of normal difference in color you see sometimes. Missouri is all complete eastern birds where we're hunting up there in Missouri. But this is my dad and I each killed this bird the same day.
Cool. One more.
And then my dad also hunted in Nebraska, and they have Merriams out there. These are 2 Merriams he killed out.
Cool. He's serious about it.
Oh, yeah.
Your dad's good.
And my brother Tom, he's great at taking my dad. He takes my dad all the time. And so my dad loves it. He's older now, less mobile, doesn't get to do as many things. So after he kills his last tom, he's thinking about next year when he can go the first time.
Yeah, that's great. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Let's quickly take a look at our fishing game time brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers. Our time today, one time, it's real easy to remember, 11:30 to 1:30, time to get out there, middle of the day. We have so much to talk about. One thing about the season, we're talking about duck season coming up.
Yeah.
Early duck season, but you had an interesting take you were telling me during the break, and I didn't know this. The research behind why you can shoot wood ducks and teal on the same weekend. What's going on with this?
Yeah, back in the 80s, late 70s, in the early 80s, the FWC, at that time it was Game and Fish Commission, but they did research banding wood ducks. I used to do it all the time back in the mid 80s, banding wood ducks and whatnot. And through those harvest reporting systems, they found that there's a big population of resident wood ducks in Florida. And so the state established an early wood duck season. This was many years ago. And now it's combined with teal.
Yeah.
But the reason why in Florida during that early season, the first 5 days, you can include wood ducks in your bag limit is because the state knows through that banding process that those are resident wood ducks here in Florida. The migratory woodies haven't come down. So during the early teal season, the first 5 days, you can kill 6 birds, only 2 of which can be wood ducks. But they know that, hey, any wood ducks killed during September are resident birds that live and raised in Florida. Mm-hmm. The migratory birds come down later, and then during the regular duck season, you can kill 3 wood ducks. And the reason why it goes up, because they know, okay, now we're hunting not only the resident birds, but also the migratory birds.
I always thought that banding and tagging was such a just interesting thing to do. I've been on both. I've shot some of the banded and sent it off, and I've told him before. Did y'all get a good results when people sending back in the information for the most part?
Oh yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Most duck hunters are very good about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was interesting. Back in the 80s when I used to band ducks, I actually killed one of the ducks that I banded.
Oh, no way. That's suspicious activity there.
Yeah, no, but I actually did do that, which was kind of interesting. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Do you get a duck hunt much anymore? You have time to squeeze it in? Or?
Well, I've had a duck hunting lease out with Deseret out at old MK Ranch.
I remember.
And right now they're in the process of evaluating what they're going to do with that area. So, but I have some big catfish ponds out there that are covered with aquatic vegetation. So we'll go out there, my buddy and I, and we'll shoot ringnecks and some wood ducks, whatnot. But usually we wait till the regular season to do that. So.
Speaking of the big redhead population, it used to be huge, and I can remember we hunted it when it was huge. Yeah. What happened?
Well, really, there's still a relatively large redhead population that winters here in the Panhandle of Florida. There's a big group of them that winter out in West Bay area.
Yeah, that's the ones we used to hunt. But there used to be a bunch of them.
Yeah,
you saw them.
Oh yeah, I used to hunt them all the time. And then now Crooked Island Sound off of Tyndall, there's a bunch of birds that winter there. That's where I usually hunt them, out there. Yeah. And Apalachicola Bay also has a big population. So Carabel, all that area in there. So redheads are a staple for the coastal duck hunters here in the Panhandle.
Yeah, I love it. I start talking about it, I won't get back into it. I just like too much of this outdoor stuff.
And I tell you what, the redheads are a good eating duck.
They are.
Unbelievable good eating duck. Yeah. The only problem is it's a lot of work hunting the coast for a bag limit of 2.
I know. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Okay, let's quickly talk about the season. We got all the things coming up now as far as this upcoming season. He sent this to me last night. Of course, now we got it every weekend. I've been seeing some great pictures of the red snapper.
Yeah,
I really have. We were just talking about early teal again this weekend, 16th through 20th. And how many wood ducks do you get?
During that first 5 days is the only time you can kill the wood ducks, and only 2 of the 6 can be woodies.
2 of the 6 are woodies. Yeah. And then the teal, again, we talked about it last week, 21st through 24th. Dove season, phase 1, next weekend. We're about a week away from there, and that's a good time. Squirrel season and archery. So for the Panhandle outdoorsman, we have a lot of stuff going on.
Oh yeah, and this time of year is kind of an exciting time because there's something opening the next weekend, next weekend, next week. So it's really exciting. You have a lot of different things you can do. So I love this time of year when there's a lot of different things opening.
I do too. I do too.
And it's also some of the seasons that come in now outside of archery, but the squirrel season, the dove season, it's a good opportunity to take kids out and your grandkids out.
Right,
so they're type of hunting experiences that they can tag along, and you can introduce them. Most kids hunt. I don't know how many kids, the first thing that they harvested was a squirrel.
A squirrel?
And it's something that you can take children, and it's safe, and it's you can talk, and so it's a great thing. I remember my grandson when he was little kill his first squirrel.
Yeah, it's a special time.
Yeah.
I had my son's mounted and I had it in the garage, and then the cat got after it. So anyway, dove season, I absolutely love dove season too. Talking about great camaraderie, we all get out in the field, and then after the hunt, all get together. Sometimes we'd have a big meal before the hunt, and then sometimes together after the hunt. And some people call it, I saw this the other day, they call it, you should have shot that one season. Because when a dove flies over, you should have shot that one. So we got a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of people plant dove fields, and a lot of landowners don't understand the baiting laws. And there's a lot of things you can do to your dove fields that you can't do if you're hunting waterfowl. When it comes to waterfowl, anything you plant, you can't manipulate that crop. It has to stay in place. Well, doves, that's not the case. And what we always did, and we used to have big dove fields on Tyndall and all the places I manage, is we'll actually mow strips. So we'll plant, we'll leave places unplanted, rows unplanted. We'll disc it up so it's bare ground. And then we'll plant big, wide strips in between. And so then as the seasons or phases come on, we'll get the bush hog, go out and we'll bush hog the row right next to the bare dirt. And it scatters the seed from that millet onto the bare dirt. Makes it easy. And if you do that throughout the season, and it's perfectly legal, you will really increase the use by your doves.
Thank you so much. We got to go, Steve. Thank you, buddy.
All right, good to see you, Winston.
All right, y'all do something good for someone else today. Thank you for watching, and God bless.
God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.